Hello, travel biz owner. Welcome to my corner of the travel industry, the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. If you're ready to have fun, be inspired, get clarity, and take action in your travel business, then you're in the right place. Let's jump in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. So nice to have you here again. We have another amazing guest on this week's episode of the podcast. I wanted to, before I introduced you to her, I wanted to put a little behind the scenes of how this interview kind of came to be, because if you have been following me on Instagram for a little bit, you know that when a certain awards, the Travel Age West Awards, came out in 2021, I put out a huge rant on Instagram, and you probably can find it on the Take the Helm Instagram, where I was not happy because everybody who won an award that year looked the same. And it was just, if I didn't already know that the travel industry had a big problem with uplifting other voices, that was like the biggest red flag / flashlight in my eyes to be like, we need to change things within our industry. Little did I know how quickly some of that changed. I don't think everything's changed or fixed. I think it's a process that's happening and that we're moving forward. But when I saw the winners of this year's Travel Age West Awards, I was like, whoa, just like this amazing group of people, diverse in backgrounds, diverse in age, diverse in size, in sexual orientation, just so much diversity that I felt really resembled what the travel industry really looks like. So I remember commenting on that post saying like, I need to have some of these people share their stories on the podcast. And here you go. So the first person that I have who is an award-winning travel advisor is Cassandra Adams from Two Chicks Travel. So welcome, Cassandra.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, Cassandra. Before we get deep into, especially all things with the Travel Age Awards, tell me a little bit more about you and the travel business. How long have you been in the business? How did the business come to be? Are you a solopreneur? Do you have a partner? Tell me all the things.
So basically, when I was 19, I actually went to school for it. And then 9/11 happened.
Okay.
And we didn't know what was going to happen in the world. And so my sister and I, she's not a blood sister, but she's a sister friend. And so I call her my sister.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I went back to college and we didn't know what was going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because we'd gone to school for travel agency, and now 9/11 has occurred and the world is different.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it was like, okay, I don't think anybody's ever going to fly again in life. We're all scared. You just
Right.
don't know. And so took a break. She went back and got her master's in social work. I went to school for mental health counseling and sociology, and we just kind of ventured off. But we had this love of travel that we always knew we would come back to it. We just
Mm.
didn't know when.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 2018, we returned back to our love of travel
Yay.
and opened Two Chicks and Company.
Mm-hmm.
So Two Chicks and Company, and now it's Two Chicks Travel. So
Okay. So what travel did you originally start out selling?
so the reason I chuckle is because I don't have anything against this brand at all. I swear I
Mm-hmm.
don't. But I am so like not a cruiser really anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I do like celebrity at this point. I like celebrity and Royal Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm leaning. I'm gonna learn more about Virgin. I'm still learning, but. I used to sell Carnival cruises, and now you have to fight me to sell it. I don't really. So it's just not my client. It's hard, when
Mm-hmm.
you're in the travel industry. People make these assumptions. Not only that we make a ton of money, there's
Right.
money in it. It is money in travel,
Right.
but you have to find your niche market, and you also have to learn how to say no to people.
Yes.
So for me, My sister still will do carnival. I just am unless it's a group and it's a big group, I'm not doing it. It's not enough money in it for me.
Hmm.
So that's how I started back was cruises and Amtrak. And I don't really
Okay.
sell that anymore.
Okay, so how did you know that you kind of wanted to get out of doing the budget trips?
If I am completely honest, and I have to be, and I'm probably
Yes.
gonna offend some people, and I'm sorry. When they wanted to nickel and dime me, I was like, I can't do
Hmm.
this. Because on the back end, it's a couple of things that most people do not know unless they have been in the travel industry or they are currently in the travel industry. And that is we do not get paid until after they travel.
Right.
And so, with that being said, if I am being called and text every other hour
Hmm.
and I'm only making $80 off this cruise, that's a problem because
Right.
I'm spending time. And again, one person's $100 may be 1,000 to another person. I'm not saying that the dollar is not as important, but you also got to be realistic. You know, you
Hmm.
don't get the same service when you go into um Walmart as when you go into Target. And that's hey, and that's keeping it low. You
Right.
just you don't. You know what I mean? You know,
Right.
the Target associates are different versus Walmart associates. They just are.
Hmm.
And the same thing, you know, we always talk about Chick-fil-A and their customer service
Right.
and how you feel when you leave Chick-fil-A. You're
Hmm.
not going to get that at most drive-through restaurants. And
Right.
so and you pay more for Chick-fil-A food because of such. And
Right.
so at this point, I I'm at the place now where I can turn down clients and I don't have a problem doing so.
Awesome.
So
Love it. Love
yeah.
it. So how did you transition? Because that's now that brings it over to how did it become easier for you to be able to turn down clients?
Well, a couple of reasons. The main reason was I knew my worth and I knew who I was as an individual. And I was like, I went to school for this. And if you feel like you can do it and do it cheaper, you have at it. You do the research for it.
Yes.
You go out there and spend those hours that I have in my head already. If
Mm-hmm.
that's the time you have and you want to waste it, you go ahead. And so, you know, knowing your value and knowing who you are as a travel advisor or travel owner or travel designer, whichever curator, whatever you
Right.
want to call yourself, because we've gotten creative with our names now.
Right.
But I just I got to a place where I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time. Um, I started charging research fees. It's just a couple of
Hmm.
things to put in place to kind of avoid tire kickers for me.
Right.
Um, because again, if you are putting together a European itinerary and you have to reach out to those people and you have to wait in different time zones for people to respond or like I was on a conference call with Dubai one day and I'm like I ain't supposed to be asleep, but I have to be awake, you know, because I need to be on the call with them when they're awake. They
Hmm.
don't see, you know, the client does not see the back end if they don't appreciate your service you provide. And
Agreed.
once you put um once you put the value of your services to the forefront of your mind and say, hey, I'm worth this. I
Hmm.
deserve this. And this is what I want to make. Then either they'll respect it and they'll still book with you or they'll go on. And I'm okay with them falling off because you're
Hmm.
not going to stress me out over $80. You're
Love
just,
it.
you know, you're just not going to. I'm okay with it. Um,
Yes.
I don't want to say that I do only luxury travel because I do feel like we can travel and not break the bank. I
Right.
want people to be able to travel that didn't think they could travel long as I book I put the trip out at least 10 months to a year to give people time to pay and make payments.
Hmm.
And most of the vendors I use, are 90. Well, some are scared because they went through what they went through during COVID, because
Mm-hmm.
some of our vendors got a little stage fright as well.
Right.
And so they're wanting 120 days out, some vendors,
Mm-hmm.
especially those vendors that do Dubai and Europe. But for the most part, you can get within that 60-day range and give people a little bit more time to pay, which is what I try to do. So if a trip is $4,000, they have a little bit more time to pay, because I do
Right.
want people to be able to travel without breaking the bank, but you're also not going to break my spirit in the process, you know,
Right.
of stressing me out about $80.
Yes, no, but that's so true, especially the accessibility part in terms of more people want to be able to travel. They want to be able to travel nicer, but they might not have all the means right now. So having or being able to plan further in advance and having payment plans makes it possible for many people who are working class, like many of us are, who just don't have the means up front, but throughout the year, the 2 years, however early they're planning, they're able to make their dreams happen, and you're able to facilitate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I just, again, I do not deal with tire kickers. I will cut somebody quick. And I have catch and release clients where I'm like, I'm not for you. We don't work, we're not
I
we're
love
not
that.
marriage material. I'm gonna let
Do
you
you say it
know.
just like that to them too? We're not marriage material. I love that.
No, normally I say we do not work. We don't work. I
Okay.
need to find you. I can refer you to somebody else, but I'm not your person. I'm
Okay.
just not her.
Okay.
So
And did you always, because you said that you charge research fees now, did you always do that, or is that just something that came out through time?
it came out over time.
Okay.
I've only been charging a research fee like a year.
Same.
Which um, you know, I could punch him in the face most days, but my ex-boyfriend is the one. I'm serious. He's the one that told me to start charging research fees. And this was probably back in 2018, 2019. Because
Okay.
he would watch me on trips. Like we would
Mm-hmm.
be on vacation and I would still be working. And he was like, you gotta make people pay for your time, because these people are wasting your time. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't implement it until COVID. After COVID hit, I was
Okay.
like,
And is your fee, do you go like by the hour? Is it just one flat fee and they get whatever services with that flat fee? What's your process for that?
well, for a basic trip to Jamaica is more like $25. I don't hit people in the head because, again, we are getting a lot of younger clients
Mm-hmm.
that they're getting their first passport stamp. They don't have a lot of money, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I'll work. I'll still work with them, long as they're not wasting my time.
Right.
Um, Weddings, destination weddings, $500. I'm not doing it. I had someone who wasted almost a year of my time and then did not book. And I will never do it
No way.
again.
So were you
And
just doing all the planning and logistics on the back end and they were like, "Oh, I'm not doing that or I'm going separate
yeah,
ways."
yeah, I'm going to get married locally.
No, I had something like that similar happen during the pandemic and I was like, "You don't know." So yeah, I'm very similar in the sense like you are not going. And funny enough, you say that about like we're not marriage material in the sense of like we're not going to work together. I recently had a family
Yeah.
member send me a text message like, "Hey, I know that or we're with some friends right now and they're interested in going to Ireland. What would you say is the best time of year to go?" And I just like rolled my eyes because this is the family member who 6 months ago said, and I was at a very low point professionally, and asking for a lot of family help in terms like, please refer me to other people. And the
Absolutely.
response I
Absolutely.
got is, why would people work with you if we can just book it ourselves? And I was
Yes.
like, that's the help that you're gonna give me?
And
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 so
you just asked me for something out of my brain.
right, right, right. And something like technically I don't specialize in, so it was easy. I consulted with one of my advisor friends and I was like, I can just refer them to you because I know that she specializes in Ireland. And she was like, yeah, I probably don't want to work with them either if they're going to be like that.
And that's true. I won't do that to any of our colleagues and fellow advisors. If
Hmm.
somebody's been a jerk or being um already, even before we get to the quote stage, far as
Hmm.
like just over conversation, I can already tell they're going to be a negative Nancy
Right.
or a pissy Paul.
Right.
I'm not sending them to anybody. You figure it
Hmm.
out, and whoever you find, you find. I recently had somebody email me and call me because they didn't like a quote that an agent had given them, and I said, "Send me the quote." I said, "Let me see it."
Uh-huh.
I looked at it. I called him back. I said, "You better take it."
Wow.
I was like, "I'm telling you, if this is the number she's giving you, you better take it
Hmm.
because mine is $2,000 more."
Dang. Seeing that transparency, I love that.
So I think hers was like 65 or something, and mine was like 85 or 84. I was
Mm.
like, "You better take it because if
Hmm.
you wait too long, and then I think uh, people don't have realistic expectations of us when it comes to
Right.
flights. We do not control the prices of flights."
Right. It's funny that you mentioned that because I had somebody in December wanting May Hawaii and waited and waited. And so like a week or two later, the flights shot up like 500 to 750 per ticket already. And it's like travel how it used to be is not the same way that it is right now.
No, it's not. And I've been telling people, and I told somebody today, literally, she helps me with my branding. I told her, I said, we're not gonna see those 2021 prices,
Hmm.
probably ever, if not like 4 years, 5 years. I said, we're not.
Right.
I
Right.
said, because I said, just like supply and demand, they go up on this. Well, did they pay it or did they stop paying it?
Hmm.
If they see you stop paying it, then they'll come down on the price. But if they see, well, we went up to 700 and they're still paying it, why would we ever go back to five?
Hmm.
So it's one of those supply and demand things where until you kind of rebel against the system, they keep going up just to see if they could push you to the
Hmm.
next level. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you brought to mind your branding person because that's kind of what spurred our having the conversation is that you won Best Targeted Marketing Idea in the Travel Age Best Awards. So huge congrats to that. Your travel business is unique and individual to you, your needs, and your clients' needs, which means your marketing strategy needs to be the same. If you're done trying every marketing tactic out there with no avail, then it's time to join us in Marketing Business School. A community of your fellow peers is waiting to support you in your entrepreneurial journey. Receive a monthly marketing education session from yours truly, along with a process party to finally work on those workflows and SOPs, and a Tech Talk Q&A session. To get in on the action, head on over to travelbiztraining.com to enroll today.
Thank you.
I also think it was amazing because it empowers women sizes 12 and above. And I'm like, cha-ching, that's me, that's me. So how did that idea, because it seems like you have the Facebook group, This Vacation Has Curves, but then you also
Yes,
created a group trip from that. So
yes.
tell me all the ins and outs. How did that come to be?
Well, I was in another group, and they were talking about how they were traveling with smaller friends, skinny friends, and
Mm.
that they made them feel less than.
Huh.
Um, and I kind of watched it, and I was like, that's mean. And
Mm-hmm.
I gained weight. I used to be skinny, so I was a thin girl. So I've been on both sides of this thing.
Okay.
So I was like, that's mean. I don't remember doing that when I was skinny, but
Right.
and everybody was like, you need new friends. And I was like, you absolutely need new friends. And so then I would scroll and I see it again. I was looked at funny on the airplane when I asked for a seatbelt extender. I said, well, that sucks, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it was just all these different things where people that were full figured was traveling and having these different instances where they were being discriminated against or being treated bad. And I was like, this is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually was um I was somebody reached out to me and said that they wanted to do a trip of women. She didn't really have friends and she wanted to do something. And I
Okay.
said, well, I'm going to start a group for women that travel, because the group that we were in, they shared stuff and travel inspiration, but they didn't host any groups. They
Okay.
just kind of, bathing suits. Where is a good place to get bathing suits? Where is this? Where is that? What's plus size? What's the best plus size friendly airlines? And things of that nature. Um, like basic seats, I feel like Southwest is plus size friendly. Just in general, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, far as not having to upgrade. But then you got Delta Comfort as well.
Mm-hmm.
But and without having to move into a first class seat. So and certain friendly airlines and stuff like that. So I told her, I said, hey, well, I'll start the Facebook group. And then she and I started the Facebook group. She started adding people to the group. But long term, um, it's now just me over the group. And then my branding
Okay.
manager helps me with the group as well.
Okay.
The other chick, I know I hardly ever talk about her, but she is actually a social worker full time, and so basically, I run two chicks travel on my own, and then my
Okay.
branding manager Latoya goes with me on the trips. Um, but I started the group in, I want to say 2021, and we already had like, yeah, it's a new group.
And
She's
there's
only she's not
2,000
even,
members.
yes, she's not even a year. I mean, 2 years old. She's like a year and a couple of months old.
Okay.
Um, and I don't approve everybody, so I actually would have had more members than that. I actually kind of go through and really look at the pages before because I'm the only person that can approve people.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually go through and really look. I got people pending right now that I haven't had time to look at their pages to see if they
Okay.
would be a good fit before I actually let them in to
Okay.
the group. So, and I put out in the end of 21, yeah, sometime August of 21, I put out the Jamaica trip because everybody loves Jamaica. So I was like, all right, this will be the inaugural trip for
Mm-hmm.
this. And so I put it out. I started getting some decent feedback. Everybody that initially signed up didn't go, but that's how group trips work.
Right.
You start with 30, you end up with 15. Hey, you call yourself lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know how I happened upon the Travel Age West page. I don't know where, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if
that's
somebody sent me the link. I don't know.
well, before we get into Travel Age West, so how did the group grow?
People realize that it looked like them, and it's only women. I
Okay.
don't let men in. Every now and again want to slip in and I'll delete them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because for some reason it invites everybody who likes Two Chicks Travel page. And
Okay. I
so
think that's a
if they
setting.
yeah, so if they accept it, then some guys will get in, but as I catch them, I'll remove them.
Okay.
But a lot of women, I know it's one lady named Dawn. She
Mm-hmm.
added probably like 60 people, and then somebody else added like 30 people. Paula added a lot of people. And so it's just been like some people just added so many people. I didn't add a
Okay.
lot of people myself, so.
So how did you promote the group slash what content is keeping people staying in the group?
I I'm slacking right now and I can be accountable, but I post where people can feel good about themselves and post pictures of themselves. And I ask questions, quirky things.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I post funny videos like men that like curvy girls and them picking us up in bathing suits and like,
Uh-huh.
hey, okay. So just a variety of things are posted in the group. Some people do post travel inspiration where they've traveled. I
Okay.
have one lady named Kim. Her and her daughter travels a lot, and she posts a lot of pictures of them traveling together. So I wish it was a little bit more activity. Most of the posts that ask people to post pictures of themselves get the most traction.
Okay.
But I wish it was more people posting general questions and stuff like that. But I think
Okay.
as I grow and grow the group, that I have to do certain things to get
Right.
them engaged.
Right.
And so I'm working through that myself. So
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just amazing. Like within a year, 2 years, like how big the group has grown. And clearly, like whatever you're putting in there is super relatable, which is having
yeah.
all these other people add all these. So, and that's when we're talking about marketing, like those are the things like you want to have a little bit of education, some engagement, and then just things that are really relatable because that's what helps build that know, like, trust factor. So you created the group, started all these different fun posts, and then how soon after would you say that you created the first trip to Jamaica?
Oh, that Jamaica trip was in there probably within 90 days of me even opening the group.
No way.
Yeah. And then we went on the trip in 2022. When I
Okay.
won the award, we hadn't even traveled yet.
No. Okay. So how many people ended up traveling with you?
I'm 17.
Wow. Okay. Okay. This is like super cool because you created a community. You found the need of plus size women essentially needing a safe place to discuss travel and travel topics. And then from there, it's just a unique niche, but specifically targeted enough that people were able to self-identify themselves. Self-identify themselves that this is my group, these are my people, and because I have had negative experience or because I want my next experience to be positive, I want to travel with these people. So it's just amazing how like the fruition of an idea and then it caught on literally like wildfire if you have 2,000 people in the group that are actively engaging. And then you also have, is this you're going to be your second trip or your third trip?
This year will be my second. The first one was in 22. We
Okay.
posted it in 21 for travel in 22.
Okay.
So we went in May of 22.
Okay.
And then the second one is August of this year.
Okay.
So that'll be number two.
Alrighty. Would you say that it's selling similarly to how the first trip, or is it gaining a little bit more attention?
No, this one actually, I kind of blame myself on this. This trip is not selling as well, and I think it's because it's Mexico, and
Okay.
there's a lot of fear with Mexico,
Okay.
and I think people are nervous. I have a lot of people interested, but they're scared, and
Mm,
so I'm being very strategic about what I'm putting out in 2024
okay. I
because I noticed that the it's a fear factor there. So
okay.
I'm also gonna make sure it's a June or July. I try to keep it in June or July and August going forward because I know people that wanted to go in May couldn't go because they had babies in school.
Okay.
So going forward it'll be June, July, August, that first week or so, just so people that have kids can try to find somebody to keep the kids because they're out of school
Okay.
and can go. So,
Okay.
but I'm also my I love the Caribbean. It's great, but going forward, I'm getting ready to kind of take them out of that element to try to
Hmm.
really push them because some people don't they see Thailand on TV, they don't think they can go. They see Tokyo on TV, they don't think they can go. So I
Right.
want to kind of push the boundaries and say, hey,
It can
you know,
happen.
yeah, I do. What I do love is that some of the girls that went on the first Vacation Has Courage trip is going with me to Dubai in May.
Ooh.
So I still have them. They just are going on different trips versus
Okay.
the curvy girl trip.
Okay.
Um, so that's what made me say, okay, I'm gonna step outside the Caribbean a little bit. And curvy girls in Paris and curvy girls,
I love, and thank you for saying, because I don't think that that's widely talked about enough, where like we have an idea, it was executed, but you're finding different ways of where things have to be pivoted from what you're seeing. Like there's data that you're seeing and you're executing based on that data for future.
yeah. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't so late, I probably would pivot away from Mexico because
Mm-hmm.
for August. But I've had enough people pay where it's kind of like can't mess with it, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
All right.
especially
So yeah, okay, Travel Age West Awards.
yes.
So did you nominate yourself or did somebody else nominate you?
So the process for Travel Age West is someone can send it to you or you can go out there yourself, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to fill out uh, a form. Like
Okay.
you have to tell them what you're doing, why is it important, why is it special, what makes you different, what makes you unique.
Mm-hmm.
So I submitted myself. I just cannot remember
Where
where
it came from.
yeah, where it came from. I feel like somebody emailed it to me and I looked at it and then I kind of tossed it to the side because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not doing this because there's a lot of awards out there, as I'm sure you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them they have application fees, and I was like,
Right.
I'm not paying for this. And they
I'm just gonna
didn't.
say Magellan Awards. If you didn't know, Magellan Awards, you got to pay for that to be
That
apply for that.
make it make sense. What am I paying?
Right.
Okay, so I'm paying for these dinners and I'm paying for your ballroom that you're gonna host us in,
Right.
not happening. So I did after Travel Age West, I did get an email from them from Magellan, and I was like, I'm not paying you, dude. They,
Right.
that's
Right. I
not
know
what
a
this
lot
is
of
about.
people in the industry will pay, but they have the means to pay. They'll pay because they want the award. But as soon as I found out that the Magellan Awards were, you had to pay for the application, that turned me not pro that. So
Yeah,
now
it makes you
I'm
feel like
aware.
yeah, and it makes you feel like okay, you just spent this money for what? Like
Right. Like, why should you have to pay to apply for an award? If someone
it,
can make it make sense to me, I'm open to having that conversation, but it does not make sense to me. I think it's very much like a pay to play versus going off of someone's accolades and
yep,
the
yeah.
um,
It turned me off
quality.
too.
Right.
Yeah, it turned me off too because then it was like, okay, if I'm the only person that pays in this category, then I automatically win because nobody else
Mm,
paid. Like, does it even have the same? I
right.
don't know.
Right, because
Uh,
there's so many programs within the industry that you see like gold Magellan, silver, bronze Magellan awards, and you're like, okay, so that like it must be very good because it won an award. And then you're like, oh, but they paid to apply. And just like you said, like who knows? How do you know if they were the only one in the category? Well, automatically by default, they were gonna win.
yeah, and it decreases the value for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Cassandra, for coming on and sharing a little bit about your story. And thank you for being just so open and, really sharing a lot of the nitty gritty in your travel business.
oh no
And
worries.
huge congrats again on that
Thank
award
you.
and being part of and being with us here in our industry.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it for inviting me on. Thank you.
Thank you. If people wanted to stay connected with you, I know you're active on Instagram, but what's the best way to connect with you? Would it be on Instagram?
Yes. Either the this vacation has curves page or the Two Chicks travel agency page. And then of
Awesome.
course, my link tree is on there so they can click that and connect as well. So
Perfect. Awesome.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. Remember to check out the show notes for all relevant links and resources from today's show. See you next time.